Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Art with Ray. I am Ray, and today I'm here to bring you a very special review. It's actually not going to be the full review today, it's just going to be swatching. But today's watercolor palette is Making Art for Joy's Sake palette by Kristy. Many of you know who Kristy is. She's an amazing YouTuber. She does a lot of tutorials, especially for beginners, and most of her work is loose florals. This palette I got quite a while ago. And I just am now getting around to doing anything with it. I've been working with it for probably about a month and a half now, and I'm really enjoying it. The colors are bold and they're beautiful. I just want to address a couple of things really quickly. There's been a lot of talk on YouTube and all about whether or not these are professional paints. Kristy says that they are. I've spoken to her, and also I have the old packaging. The new packaging does tell you what pigments are in each that are in the palette. So for people who say, okay, well, there's no pigment information, it couldn't possibly be professional, that's not correct. Also, if you think about it, a lot of the bigger companies, Daniel Smith, Winston and Newton, and Core, also all have some pigments that are fugitive. Every company does it. And if you don't want a fugitive paint, then don't buy it. Okay, so I'm going to open up the palette and show you what's inside. This is a swatch sheet that I have already done. I'm going to re-swatch them here, and then you'll be able to see what they look like dry. Opening up the palette, I just cleaned this palette. You have 12 colors. Each one is absolutely beautiful, and I will, like I said, swatch them out for you now. According to Kristy and her packaging, there are two colors that are not very highly light fast. One is this yellow. I'm not sure what the other one is, but I believe, and if Kristy, if you're watching, can you just let me know if this is correct? I believe the pink might also be one that's a little bit less light fast, because reds and pinks tend to be on that spectrum. And as you'll see when I swatch that color, it's a very bright pink. It's actually really pretty. So let's get started. Let's swatch these out, and I'll let you know how they feel and what I think of them. Today I'm going to be swatching these with my Princeton Aqua Elite size 4 round brush. This first color is the bright yellow. Now, let me tell you, when I saw this bright yellow, I was scared because I could not imagine what the heck I would use this for. I'm like, this is not something that's going to be useful. But if you see, and I'll show you in 1 second, after I finished pulling that down, if you can see here, believe it or not, the yellow I've used the most. And I honestly I sat here thinking there's no way I'm using that bright yellow for anything. But let me tell you, mixing I don't use it by itself, but mixing this like with the blue or with the red, you get really bright greens and oranges. Okay, so that is the first color, and it's bright yellow, and I don't have my packaging with me, so I'm really sorry. I can't tell you what the name of the paint is. I believe this one's called Fearless. So that's the first one. Okay, so I'm going to rinse the brush and go into the next. Now this next one is a really interesting color. It kind of reminds me of buff titanium. And as you see, it almost goes down like buff titanium, this is a very useful color. I use it again to mix. Also, sometimes I'll use it to knock down the color. So if something's a little bit too bright, I'll add a little bit of this to it, where it won't increase the opacity as much as adding, like I said, white, but it will, it will give you a little bit more opaqueness and light in your color, or knock it down a bit, which is really what I use this color for. Okay, the next color is also another really interesting color. I can't really explain it. It is a pink, and in my opinion, it seems more like a potter's pink, but we'll see when it goes down. So it is a very light, almost like a grayed out pink, which makes me which is one of the reasons why it reminds me of a potter's pink. It's not a bad color. It's not one that I've found too much use for at this point, but everybody is different and everybody likes different things. This is a pretty color, don't get me wrong, but it's not a color that I find myself reaching for, which is fine because there are plenty of other colors in this set to reach for. Okay, next we have a version of a warm red. I wish, like I said, I wish I had the packaging. You know what happened is I had the packaging on my coffee table, which is basically where I do most of my work, and my partner was cleaning, I didn't realize it wasn't garbage, so that was thrown out, but that's fine. So the fourth color is like a warm red, and it's gorgeous. As you can see it going down, it is a very, very bright, warmer type red. It's really pretty. And as you see, it waters down to a more softer pink, but more on the peach side of pink. But beautiful color, absolutely beautiful. The next color we have, and I'm so glad that she put this in the set, is a burnt sienna, or something that looks like a burnt sienna. Again, she has names for them that are, they're not like burnt sienna. They're, fearless and all. So this is their burnt sienna, and I am so glad that she actually included this, because a lot of like smaller sets are not going to include everything. They'll include like 6 primaries, maybe a green or whatever, but a lot of times when you get paint, especially watercolor paint, professional paint, sometimes they don't give you a brown, and it's great that she gives a brown in this, and it's actually really pretty and quite useful. Okay, so the last one on this top row is a turquoisey color, and it is absolutely beautiful. Let's put that down. See how bright and bold that turquoise is? It is gorgeous. This I've used a lot of too. This is just a bright and beautiful color. One more thing that I didn't mention, and that is actually important to mention, is that I've seen reviews where people said they weren't as pigmented as some other things. The one thing that you must do with this set, and I don't do it with all sets, but this set, it's very important, you need to spray them down first. As long as you spray them down, you will get bright, bold colors right away. But, every single watercolor palette and every single watercolor paint reacts differently, even within the same company. So let's say Winsor Newton Cotton versus Winsor Newton Professional are going to work differently, not just because they're student versus professional, but because of their chemical makeup. So this is, so these paints, just spray them down, give it about a minute, and you'll get the bright, bold colors. Okay, so that is, excuse me, that is their turquoisey color, and I really do enjoy it. I think it's beautiful. Okay, we're on the second row of paints. This color here, I actually really like. It's very, very, very different. And the thing that amazes me about this color is, it's kind of like, I want to say it's almost like green gold, but even beyond that, this color seems to change, believe it or not, depending on what colors are around it. So right now, it's just on a white piece of watercolor paper, and it's not in a composition with stuff around it. But this color, literally, I've used this in different ways in different areas of paintings, and it does really look different depending on the colors around it. But this is, I guess it's a green gold. I do like it. I do like it actually very much. Okay, so the next one is another green, and it reminds me of a sap green. It is a dirtier green, which is important to me, at least, because I'm not a person that likes phthalo green at all. I have it on my palette only because it's great to mix with, but it's never a color I would use on its own. So this looks more like a mossy sap green, and this is wonderful. Again, Kristy does botanicals 90% of the time. So this set, I believe, was really with that in mind. A botanical set that you could have 1, 2, 3, and every color that you would need, for the most part, would be in the set. And we're going to talk about that at the very end, but there is, this can be used as a standalone set, and we'll talk about that at the end. Okay, so that is the sap green, and if you can see here, it's already starting to granulate, which is really pretty. Let's see. The next color is a peach color, and it's very pretty. I'm going to swatch that out here for you now. And this is a really, actually for me, which, again, there were a couple of colors in here when I saw them, like, what am I going to do with them? Like that yellow. But this is another one I wasn't sure what I would do with, but I found myself using it a lot. It's a very pretty color. It's very good in mixing. Very good mixes are made with this color. I mixed it with reds to get like a really cool, more orangey tone, also a skin tone. I watered this down a bit, added a slight bit of pink to it, and was able to use this as a Caucasian skin tone. Right. Next is the pink that I was talking about earlier. Remember, on the packaging, it does say there are 2 colors. All of the colors are light fast, very high light pass rating, with the exception of 2. Yellow is one that I know for sure, and this is one that I'm think might be. This is the pink. It's absolutely beautiful. It is a hot pink. It reminds me of opera pink. So I'm thinking if there's two colors here that aren't light fast, I just, like I said, I assume that it's the pink is the other one. But this color I've used a lot of too. This is a really beautiful color. And it waters down and fades out to the nicest shade of pink. Okay, we've got two more colors. The next color is a purple color, and it's actually quite pretty. I'm going to do that. I'm going to show that to you right now. It isn't a dioxazine purple as I would see it. This is more of a fresh purple. So if you're looking for like a dark dioxazine purple, this is not it. But if you are looking for a floral purple that is pretty spot on or more realistic, this can give you that. Clearly, you're going to have to tone it down a little bit because it is bright. And we have one more color, and then I'll give you a few clues, my thoughts, and we'll be done. You know, it's funny, in the beginning of this video, I said I wasn't doing a review, and that's what it ended up being. All right, so the final color here is a phthalo blue color. And it's beautiful. I mean, bright, bold. What else could you ask for from a phthalo blue? And it's just, it has such high tinting strength. We're going all the way down here, and I'm still have paint on a brush, and this is a size 4. So this is not a big brush. I picked this brush purposely so that the color would drain earlier. Okay, so those are the 12 colors. So let's talk about the color selection first. I think the color selection is amazing. Is this a standalone palette? No, no. Is it almost a standalone palette? Absolutely. If you wanted to use this palette and these colors and nothing else, all you would have to do, in my opinion, is to add a warm blue because it only has a phthalo blue. So an ultramarine or something like that, a warm blue, and a warm yellow because it does not have a warm yellow. Now, if you are uncomfortable or don't think that you would be comfortable using that bright yellow, you might want to get, you know, a Hansa Yellow Light and a Hansa Yellow Medium. But honestly, in my opinion, that's not really necessary. If you want this to be a standalone palette, in my opinion, all you need to do is add a warmer blue. And you've got everything you need, your 6 primaries plus purples, greens, and brown there to basically paint anything that you want. Again, this is, in my opinion, an excellent floral set. Excellent. And it does, in my opinion, it very much reflects Kristy's personality. Kristy is one that teaches you need to learn the rules to break them, and that the rules can always be bent and broke. It's not, she's not one of those people that you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do this. She's a very laid back, very cool kind of person, and this palette 100%, in my opinion, reflects her personality. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this quick review of Kristy Rice's Making Art for Joy's Sake palette. And really quickly, these are wet still, but I'm going to show you them wet. Oh, sorry. There you go. There's some. There. And there. This is my swatch sheet that I put in the actual palette. This one is done on Fabriano Artistico, 100% cotton paper. And this one was done on Paul Rubens, 100% cotton paper. So everything will be listed below in the description on how to get this palette if you so choose to buy it, and any relevant information that I feel is necessary. So everyone, thank you so much for watching, and as always, paint on.